Welcome back to a brand new Craftopia video. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the new sorting machine. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think of the sorting machine. Is it useful? Is it trash? Let me know. But let's do this. Now, in the latest content update, we were introduced to the sorting machine. Now, the sorting machine has various uses, but the real question is it actually useful, or is it just a pointless machine that we have in the game? But today I'm going to talk to you guys about what it's lacking and what it's very useful for. So here I have a sorting machine, and as you can see, it's massive. It's huge, which makes it a little bit tricky to do some good automations with or use it in majority of our builds, because just look at the size of it. So here is the sorting machine. Stuff goes in one side and it splits it between the two, and we do that using this side button here. So as you can see, we can add an item into this box here, and then we can set it to allow only this item, to exclude only this item, or to allow all items, or to exclude all items. Now this is great if you want to split resources up. So for example, if you drop two resources into there, you want one to go that way and one to go that way, great. However, it's very unlikely that we're only trying to separate two resources. Chances are it's going to be either our entire inventory or something from an automation. If we were doing an automation such as yesterday's wood and straw farm, this would actually be extremely useful, because you could have the straw going off one side and the wood going off another into their designated chest, allowing double the amount of storage from that automation, because one chest will be designated just to wood while the other one is designated to straw. Now this isn't necessarily needed, just because now we can stack 400 of each resource in one slot in a chest. But the option is still there, and that is what we want. We want those options. Now, when it comes to an entire sorting process, as in your entire inventory, I don't think this is the answer, unless you're willing to put down almost one sorting machine per item in the game, which is not only going to be a lot of sorting machines and conveyor belts, but it's also going to be a ridiculously big build, as every item in the game needs to pass through a certain conveyor belt to have that item taken off. Meaning when you get back from your adventures and you drop your inventory off, it would have to go through every single sorting machine until it picks out which item is which and sends it in the correct direction. Which, don't get me wrong, it's doable, but is it worth it? Probably not. We will do a guide on it one day. I have got it relatively working. I didn't do it for every item, I just did it for every resource, because obviously the principle was still the same. But in terms of making a guide for it, I just don't know if it's there yet, because I've got to figure out a way to make it more compact or just work better, because currently it has to go through an entire strip of sorting machines before getting to the correct location. This is not what we want, purely because that is going to be one hell of a guide when I'm saying, right, make yourself 200 sorting machines. I'm not sure if that guide is kind of up to standards, but I am going to show you something this is very useful for. And for that, we are going back to the crocodile iron farm. Now, if you see up here, we've done this in a previous video. We have the monos healing the crocodiles at the front to die in the pot and to drop off a bunch of iron ore and a bunch of fangs, meat, leather, that kind of thing. So this is where the sorting machine will actually come extremely helpful. But again, the build is still going to be huge. No matter what you do with this build, it is going to be big. Unless you're trying to sort maybe 2 items, then you could make it relatively good size. But for example, here we have 4. So we have the iron ore, the meat, the leather, and the fangs. As you can see, the crocodiles dying in the pot, and they're sending out all this stuff here. If you're interested in making this for an automatic iron farm, there is a guide on my channel. So these are all the items being spat out. So what we're now going to do is I'm going to equip a conveyor belt, and I'm going to start removing the floor. But first, I'm just going to pick all this up. Jesus, okay. And I'm going to put down a conveyor belt here. Okay, so we've got the basics down. So it fires out, lands onto the conveyor belt. We're then going to bring in one of our sorting machines. Just going to destroy the floor here. And we're going to set it so the button is facing us. Let me just grab that loot a minute. And now when I go into here, I'm going to set it to exclude selected items. And in there, I'm going to go and put the meat. So now anytime meat is taken into there, you will see it's split off. The loot goes in and the meat is pulled off to one side. But we haven't got a conveyor belt down here yet, so it's just stopping at the door. But that means if I now remove this floor and I bring in another conveyor belt, so now when it goes through, the meat is separated off and it's pulled off in this route. Great, there's one of the items done. But look at all the items that still got through. That's because we need a sorting machine to now separate them as well. So I'm going to pick this up, going to remove the floors again. Now, unfortunately, the way they have decided to do this is we do actually need conveyor belts to continue the items out. We can't just put another sorting machine because there's a slight gap. But that's okay, it's not a huge gap. So now I'm going to put another sorting machine on the end here. Same process again. This time I'm going to tell it to exclude only the selected items. And this time is going to be a fang. And again, I'm going to come over this side, going to remove this floor, and I'm going to put in a conveyor belt. So now, as you can see, when the crocodiles die, out comes the loot, the meat's being taken in there, the fangs are being taken out the other side. Beautiful. But we still have the ore and the leather to go. So as you can see, it's really starting to come together. It's just meaning we've got a lot of builds and a lot of space to take up. So I'm going to do the same process again. Put a sorting machine in here. Only exclude selected items. And this time I'm going to put the leather in. And I'm just going to put 2 conveyor belts in, one there and one there. So now let's see the process happen this time. Crocodile dies in the pot. Out comes the loot, meat, fangs, leather, iron. So now this is all just iron ore. So now let's go ahead and we're going to put another conveyor belt in to bring the iron out this way. So that's on that little process. Now this stuff here, we just want collected. Nice and simple. So I'm going to put a floor in on the end of these conveyor belts. And again, you can now have these conveyor belts take this all the way to a storage area if you like. But I'm not doing that today. I'm just bringing in some floors and having chests over here collect these items just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to put in a diamond chest here, a diamond chest here, and a diamond chest here. So now I'm going to take this absorber, place it on here, place this one on here, and place this one on here. So as you can see, we now have all of the resources being dropped off by the crocodile farm being done completely automatic and sorted for us. So it comes through, the meat comes out, gets absorbed in the chest, the fangs come out, absorbed, the leather comes out, gets absorbed. And the iron is being stacked up over here. Now, if we want to, we could do that same process. We could put down a chest with an absorber, or we could step it up a level. What is happening to my chests right now? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fit an automatic furnace. This is actually backwards. There we go. Come around this side to the controls. And I'm going to set it so all of this iron ore gets turned into an infinite amount of iron ingots. Now, when that now comes out, I'm going to fit a couple of conveyor belts so we can get a little bit of distance here. Do it all the way to that floor, why not? Now, as you can see, this crocodile farm is now a fully automatic furnace. So it comes out of here, splits out all the rest of the resources into these chests, which again, you could attach to a bunch of conveyor belts and have this going all the way around the system. But that is all being collected there, coming out this side and being smelted into iron ingots, which gives us an unlimited amount of iron ingots continuously, which again, if you want to, you could split out a piece of this floor, you could put in an auto assembly machine and have an automatic prism or cogwheel or whatever it may be. What you can see is a useful method for the automatic sorting machine. Now this is great. Don't get me wrong, I love this. But as you can see, this is just for 4 items. So we needed the 3 to actually separate the items out. And then we didn't need one on the end because we wanted the iron ore to come out. But if it was going into chests, you would basically need 1 per item. So look at the amount of space that is taken up. Ignore the furnace, just those 3 there. And that's just to separate 3 items in the game. So yes, it's great, but in terms of space, it's a lot. I get it, they couldn't have really made it much smaller. Maybe you'd have to do 2 tiers. So it starts going up conveyor belts, so you can start putting them above each other. Maybe that will take up less actual wide space and use the height. But regardless, it's going to take up a lot of space. What you could actually do though is you could have this entire operation running under your base, so it's completely invisible, and you just build a town on the top, and each chest will be filled automatically. So as you can see here, we have done nothing, and we have a whole bunch of iron ingots. We've already done 137 iron ingots, and they have enchants on dangerous and dangerous crocodile. Now, this was just an example to show you how useful this machine really is. It has a lot of possibilities, especially when it comes to our automations. We can start to separate some of the resources we gain from it, and that could be very useful. But is it useful for a full sorting machine for every item in the game? I don't believe so, no. And purely because as well, if we build that right now and they add a new item to the game, which they are going to do, of course, it may completely mess up that entire build, and we've got to keep extending and keep extending. So I don't really know what the answer is to this. Maybe they need to give us another option inside the sorting machine to allow to do it by type. So ores are separated, ingots are separated, instead of iron, copper, you know. That would just allow us to at least have two separate sets of sorting machines. These ones break it down to the type, and then these ones break it down to the specific chest. I think that would work better, but this is great, don't get me wrong. It's just the size it takes up. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do drop a like and subscribe. Comment down below, what do you think of the sorting machines? What clever use have you found for them? Can you think of a way that they could be improved, or do you just love the item? Because I think it's great. I think it's just not quite what we were looking for when we were talking about auto storage. Let me know down in the comments below, but most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!